Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So for our movie critic title, How to Make Millions Before Grandma Die. So I am presenter 1, Nur Najla Syabiella Binti Hasnizam. So, for the video accept 1, the conjugal story routine, the synopsis is, after moving in with his terminally ill grandmother Amma to secure her inheritance, M attempts to prove his devotion by becoming her full-time assistant at her traditional conjugal stall in Talat Pelu, Thailand. The scene captures the high-pressure environment of the morning rush, where the generational gap becomes painfully clear. Amma, a seasoned and disciplined entrepreneur, has no passion for M's lack of skill and slow pace. For critical incident 1, harsh criticism, then description of communication aspect negative. Firstly, during the high-pressure morning rush, the grandmother utilized destructive verbal feedback to scold M when he fails to scoop the congee correctly. Then, this represents a failure in the professional mentoring, where the supervisor used public shaming rather than private instruction, then creating a tense and intimidating atmosphere for the subordinate. Next, explanation using communication theory. We use communication climate theory in here. The grandmother creates a defensive climate through evaluation by using you language such as you are useless and you are wasting ingredients. She attacks character rather than describing the specific technical error. Then what will happen? This triggers a defensive reaction in M and causing him to shut down mentally rather than learning the correct procedure. Next is causes and effects. Firstly, for the cause, the grandmother's high stakes for her business combined with a lack of formal training for M then leads her to use criticism as a shortcut for discipline. Next, for effect, M feels demotivated and embarrassed in front of the customers. So this stifles his learning curve as he becomes more focused on avoiding her anger than on mastering the task. Next, we move on to recommendation for improvement. Firstly, the shift to constructive feedback. The grandmother should use the sandwich method or specific descriptive feedback that focus on the action on how to hold the scoop rather than M's personality. Secondly, pre-shift briefing. M should request a walkthrough of the standard operating procedure (SOP) during a quiet period to ensure he understands expectations before the high-pressure rush begins. For the example from the video excerpt, in the clip, the grandmother shouts at M for wasting ingredient and scolds him for his lack of speed. This harsh verbal reprimand serves as a clear example of how critical feedback, when delivered without empathy or instruction, becomes a barrier to workplace efficiency. For critical incident 2, the information tsunami in a high-pressure environment. Firstly, description of communication aspect negative. The grandmother delivers a rapid-fire information tsunami, throwing multiple complex instructions at M simultaneously. She expects him to perform the task as she speaks, which creates instructional havoc. Then, explanation using communication theory. This incident demonstrates instructional havoc where a sender gives too many verbal instructions that forcing the receiver's brain to grasp only a few at a time while forgetting the rest. So this is worse by a turn-taking violation known as hogging the floor, where the grandmother takes a long time on the conversational floor and ignore M's attempts to ask for clarification. For the causes and effects, first cause, the grandmother lacks audience awareness and is not sympathetic to whether the receiver can keep up or not. For the effect, M is left dumbfounded with his ears buzzing because he cannot use shorthand technique or voice recorder in the heat of the kitchen. His short-term memory bank fails, leading to mistake in the recipe. Then, recommendation for improvement. For filter information, the grandmother should filter only the most important information first before moving to small details. For the questioning authority, M should not be afraid to raise his hand and question the boss when she isn't clear. Lastly, for the encouraged feedback, the grandmother should ask for feedback to ensure everyone is on the same page. For the example from the video accept, as the line of customer grows, the grandmother barks a long sequence of instructions regarding the congee consistency, specific toppings for different order and heat management all at once. So M stands frozen for a second, overwhelmed by the tsunami of message before choosing the wrong bowl. Critical incident 3, maintenance of professional harmony. For the description of communication aspect negative, this scene demonstrates an indirect style of communication where professional values are implied through behavior rather than stated. In this high contact interaction, the meaning of integrity is understood through shared observation of the grandmother's dedication. Next, explanation using communication theory. The grandmother utilized high context communication, a style often found in Asian cultures where the goal is to maintain harmony. By leading through non-verbal example, she effectively avoids instructional havoc and ensures a jargon attack does not occur. For the causes and effect, firstly cause, a cultural preference for a group-focused style where maintaining the appearance of harmony is prioritized over individual expression. Next, effect, and perform effective listening by paying unimpaired attention to her movement. This allows him to fill his knowledge bank by interpreting her implicit message of quality. Next, for the recommendation for improvement, to transition from silent observation to an active turn-taking cycle, the grandmother could use turn-taking cues. For example, she could use marker words like so or well to indicate a task is finished, and providing a cue for M to self-select and take over a portion of example from the video except, despite the environmental stress caused by the heat and the crowd, the grandmother refused to take shortcut in preparation. This is an indirect communication of her standards that she says exactly what she means through her work quality, a non-verbal version of taking her words to the bank. In conclusion, ultimately this scene teaches us that efficiency in a high-pressure workplace cannot be sustained through intimidation or harsh criticism. True professional success and relationship stability are achieved by fostering a supportive communication climate where responsibility is demonstrated through initiative, sincerity, and dependable action.